Hey everybody, Jake Reichbart here. Today I'm going to share with you a lengthy lesson excerpt. So have your guitars ready and we're going to have some fun together arranging a song. Perhaps you've seen some of my many hundreds of solo guitar arrangements I have here on YouTube, and the inspiration for these arrangements is right here behind me, as you can see. I grew up with these vinyls, and I draw pretty much from any kind of style imaginable from the pop music of the past 100 years, everything from Glenn Miller to Van Halen, Alan Holdsworth to Motown, and pretty much anything in between. Beatles, I have perhaps 25 Beatles song arrangements, 20 Steely Dan song arrangements, same for Stevie Wonder, rock, hard rock, Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, and of course tons and tons of classic jazz standards from the 40s and 50s, bebop, dance tunes, movie themes. And if you want to learn how to arrange any of these songs for solo guitar, I can teach you. Just like the excerpt that you're about to watch, which comes from a lesson that runs about 90 minutes, I have nearly 200 additional titles, and they are mostly song specific. I enjoy teaching through specific songs because I can show you hands-on how I approach arranging a song. What's nice about these lessons is that I don't just tell you, do this and you're done, but rather I'll take you through 3 or 4 or 5 different ways to play the same passage. I'll work with you on dynamics, on articulation, and 100 other things that you cannot just put to paper. As I mentioned, these lessons run approximately 90 minutes. The introduction, which runs usually 15 minutes, focuses on the right hand and rhythm, and in this introduction I go through my 3 pillars of rhythmic arranging, the first principle being melody and bass only, the second being rhythmic arpeggiation, and the third, of course, the down stroke that I play with my right hand fingernails to produce that backbeat that everybody asks me about. Nevertheless, I do have 2 main method lessons. The first one, how to arrange any song for solo guitar, running 2 hours, and also an introduction to fingerstyle guitar and solo guitar arranging, running 2 hours and 40 minutes. The information about these lessons, the cost, my full lesson list, as well as a link to the full performance of the song that we're working on today is below in the information. So expand the information, take a look, and let's get started. We are, of course, now at the very beginning of the song, the rubato introduction. That is to say, kind of out of time, which in the original recording is kind of reflected by just the guitar playing by itself before the orchestra comes in. So, the good old, simplest of all simple A minor chords in the open position. Open A string along with E on this 4th string, another A on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, and the C on the 2nd string. I kind of separate the notes, thumb and 3 fingers, and the melody as I hear it is the C, A, C, while holding the chord, so there's no movement with the left hand. Next melody note is the open B played over a G chord, and in this case the G chord is just the open 4, 3, and 2 strings, along with the G in the bass, 6th string, 3rd fret. While that chord is ringing, even though it sounds dissonant in slow motion here, of course, as I mentioned, in the context of the rhythm, things kind of smoothen and straighten out. So I walk down from the G to the F sharp. 3 melody notes, open B, A, and G. The latter 2 on the 3rd string, frets 2 and open, while playing the E in the bass, so that's just an E minor 7 chord. Can't get any simpler. There's just no fingers on the guitar at all with the left hand. Sometimes I might add that B again. That's the last chord of the sequence. A, E, and A. Repeating the whole introduction. might hammer that C on. And I might elaborate a little bit on the melody. And here I exaggerated the effect even more. This is totally open to interpretation. At this point, you can do two things. Repeat exactly what I just did, second time, or insert said blues lick. Play it as long or as short as you'd like, or not at all. Repeating the same chord progression. And if desired, the second lick. Moving on to the third chordal area, starting with the G. The G, along with the 3 open strings. Back to A minor. A new voicing. This is a G chord again, but voiced differently this time, with B in the bass and the D in the melody. So now we have B, open D, open G, and D. Again. C, playing all 5 notes. C, 5th string, 3rd fret. E, 4th string, 2nd fret. Open G, C on the 2nd string, 1st fret, and the E on top. Add the note D, 2nd string, 3rd fret, back to A minor, D, and then just 2 notes. The E here, and C going to B on the 2nd string. I thought it would be cool to pretty much imitate what the original guitar did on this in this section. So once again, I'll repeat the entire introduction. And you can flourish more with your fingers. Just play a simple lick. G. And we jump into the rhythm. Much of the voicings that we are about to play next are in fact based on this introduction, and it's kind of a good thing that we got to play the introduction in a slow rubato style, which is kind of funny because when you play a rhythmic or a fast piece of music, you want to practice it in slow and break it down slowly. And here it is, in fact, that something that is being played up-tempo and fast. Actually, we're playing it slow and rubato as part of the arrangement, so that's kind of neat. So at any rate, we are now at the... So we're adding a bit of rhythm and groove to what we played before. Same A minor chord, hammering on the C. And you're noticing that I'm doing 2 of the elements that I mentioned in the introduction. I'm playing that arpeggiation, and I'm playing the bass notes G, F sharp, and E. And this note that last E is syncopated a whole quarter note before the next measure comes in. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. That is what the bass line does. So that is something that is, like I said, a little bit different from the idea of just kind of making up your own bass notes. This is something that is played in the original version. I thought I'd have included. I may not include it every single time. It's just something to keep an eye and an ear out for. So G, E minor, same thing, but in rhythm. Something musically added now when I reach this A minor again. There's a little bit of a kind of a movement here with these two notes, with the E and A played on strings 4 and 3, fret 2, released to be open, D and G. That kind of movement, which is again present in the original version, and I included it somewhat, again, to make reference to the original. Putting it together one more time. And maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'm so used to doing the backbeat. What I'll do now, I'll play the same section without the backbeat. I will attempt anyway. What I just played now may very well be very close to the Mason Williams, what he did originally in the original recording. I'll do it again. One more thing that I do sometimes, when I play the E chord, I only demonstrated as just this. But in fact, this is the 1, that's the root. There is an alternating bass note. Every chord has an alternating bass note. You can play the 1, and you can also play the 5. You can play other notes too in the scale, the 3 and additional notes. But the most common note to play as an alternating bass note is the 5 very often. And so in order to maybe not always stay on the E, I may alternate this E with the B on the 5th string 2nd fret, which is the alternating bass note. I'll put it in context. Right there. This note was syncopated, and this note came on the beat. If I don't use the B, it will sound like this. I'll just be playing the E twice, so it's just an optional note that you can play. Putting it together one more time. That's one unit of this particular musical statement. This statement now repeats 4 times, and then we will encounter new musical material. So let's get there. I'll play it 4 times and we'll move forward. Time and 4th. The 4th time we don't do this. We play A with the notes A, E, A. We move on to G,